thanks for joining us again. We've been talking a little bit about some of the things that I've learned in running a big event like our wine festival, where we have over 8,000 people. We've donated over 1.5 million to local charities. And in the lessons previously discussed, we've talked about the power of an idea. We've talked about being in the right room with the right people, surrounding yourself with those that can help bring those ideas to fruition. But there's a separate part, and that is you don't end up in that room and you don't end up with those ideas if you're not really looking to give back. And when you're looking to give back, you have to find yourself in a new room. You find yourself in a position, maybe a time in your life where you're searching for just something a little bit more to give you. And it's okay. I know we all have a full life, full family, full job. We help people every day in my profession, and I love what we do. One person at a time, one family at a time, it means so much. But when I started doing this wine festival and I started seeing the impact that it was making, there was a whole nother level of giving back. And now, of course, it required a significant amount of dedication and time and energy and excitement, and it was new. But at the same time, it required authenticity. It required all of me. It didn't require me to move into a room on a new board or a new event or a new networking group and kind of only halfway buy in. And I think a lot of people find themselves saying that they want something more and then going into a room and being afraid to speak up because they know the minute they speak up, everybody's going to say, you own it. Well, that happened to me. I spoke up and I owned it, but I didn't own it alone. I owned it with a great team. I owned it with great partners. I owned it with a powerful room, as we've mentioned before. But here's what I also got to own. I got to own the ability to feel something I had never felt before. Something that allowed me to have a stage and a platform that could change other people's lives. I couldn't write a $1.5 million check to charity at 30 years old. And I can't write it now. But the reality is, at 30 years old, I could create something and dedicate my time and give back to something that gave me something more powerful than any of the checks that we wrote. And that was a feeling of satisfaction, a feeling of giving back, of knowing that I'm living my life to the fullest. It was the power of that feeling. It wasn't just about the money that we were able to raise or the amount of fun that everybody had at the event, or walking around the event and feeling the chaos and all the craziness that goes with that. It was really about, after everything was over, after all the checks were given, it was being in a place in my life where I found something else that provided such a high level of purpose. I often talk about having a purpose bigger than yourself, and I've been talking about it for years, but doing it really meant giving myself 100% to something and not being afraid to see where it ended up. And I gave a ton, but I didn't just give alone. I gave with all the people that were a part of it. The community bought in, the city bought in, the Rotary Club bought in, the team members were all in. Everybody did that. And it was infectious. It was fun. And I think just because of the fact that it required a little more work, yeah, it was scary at times, and I was overwhelmed at times, and quite frankly, I'm sure my wife and my family were a bit overwhelmed at times. But the reality was the payoff in the end for everybody was so worth it. There are so many times today and in the past 10 years that I can look back that organizations have reached out to me or people on our team to identify some of the things they can do to make their event better, or some of the things that we could leverage. Maybe we just used our list to help them get the word out for their event, or maybe we seeded a new event because our event was so successful. I think these are the things that really make a difference. And when you're giving back and leveraging your platform and remembering that, yes, the day-to-day work you do every day can be empowering and impactful, but sometimes it's taking those lessons that you're learning in your day-to-day job and executing them at a different level with a different group in a different box that really makes a difference. And most of all, it makes a difference in more people's lives than you ever dreamed. It did for me. So I'm Scott Danner, And yes, I'm normally just with Freedom Street Partners, but I'm also with the Chesapeake Virginia Wine Festival. Check us out at www.chesswine.com and come out to our event. See what we're talking about.